I think it's going to be an important step. Essentially, what it does, it's going to close all your commercial, industrial property loopholes. And so it's essentially what's happening now is our current law freezes property taxes in time, meaning that property taxes are roughly 1% on what's the assessed value of the property, right? That sticker price, until the property's sold or upgraded. It doesn't reassess. So whenever you have the property, whenever you purchase the property, that's where it is. Now the problem is that this is true for both residential and commercial properties. The problem is that it was initially meant for residential, for people to be able to age in home without having, as the prices skyrocket, they can still stay in their properties without having to get rid of the property because they can't afford the taxes on it. But what happened is that corporations have found loopholes to bypass getting reassessed. And so what the result is that larger and larger gap between what valuable commercial properties would be paying for taxes and what they actually are paying. And what that has triggered, and what we've seen within how it's really hampered housing, is that now it's left local governments to be able to fund critical community services. They've now had to do the assessing on the building, right? So anytime someone wants to build something, we're going to assess all these different fees, and that then makes it more difficult for companies to build. But it also means that they have to charge more for those to recover rents and whatnot to make it pencil out. By closing those loopholes, it's going to reclaim $12 billion each year. And not only that, but only 10% of the biggest, wealthiest commercial properties will generate 92% of that revenue. And those are the ones that have been, like I said, your Disneys, your Exxons, your Macy's, that have been skirting their fair share, and it's time to make them pay up. This is very key to note. It protects all residential and agricultural property taxes, so it will not; those are exempt. It also exempts businesses that have a collective property value of less than $3 million. That actually protects homeowners and residents, because it explicitly says that all residential properties are off limits for reassessment. So it actually further protects it. One of the big issues with the current tax system is that people are sitting on low-use commercial property because there's not an incentive for them to sell it, because they don't have to pay the taxes on it. So obviously, Prop 15 invests in our schools. Finding that good school in LA is a challenge, and that's not right, and parents shouldn't have to do that. And so, we know why it is. It's because corporations have been taking advantage of their tax loopholes. And so I don't want our corporations don't need that tax break, those large corporations. I think they should go to school so every kid can have that opportunity, and parents don't have to choose between, do I want to buy a home or do I want to move to a better neighborhood to find a better school for my kids. 40% goes directly to education. If you have been around and had schools attend, children attend schools, and you've been to the PTA meetings every year, it's like, okay, we got to raise so much money so we don't have to lay off the librarian, or we have to raise so much money so we can keep a school psychiatrist, or an after school worker. All these things that are critical for the quality and experience and quality of education for our kids. So that's money that'll directly go to them, 40%. The other 60% goes for local services directly to counties, cities, and special districts, and $3.4 billion will come to Los Angeles County alone. So imagine what LA County can do with $3.4 billion. We know we need it. I've already seen some of the negative ads about Prop 15, spreading a lot of lies and deception. You'll see them, they'll say, oh, they're coming for, residential property taxes next. They're going to increase your residential taxes. They're coming for your house. And that's just a bold-faced lie. This is a problem that has gone on way too long, and an injustice that's gone on way too long. And it's time that we make these corporations pay their fair share, especially now, coming out of the pandemic.
So at its core, Measure J is about changing our county's budget. And so it's really on all of us as allies and advocates in this space to communicate the really powerful nature of Measure J, because what Measure J will help us do is pivot hundreds of millions of dollars and eventually billions of dollars as revenue grows, as God willing, Prop 15 passes, to prioritize the things that we know create strong, safe, and healthy communities. And that is access to community-based mental health care, for example, access to housing that people can afford, and access to good quality, high-paying jobs. These are all things that the county budget invests minimally in at this point, and the results show. We know the dramatic disparities in health, in life expectancy, in safety in LA County between communities of color and white communities. We know the disproportionate representation of Black folks experiencing homelessness. It is significant substantive systemic change, and it begins to turn the large ship that is the county budget, which is a big deal. The defenders of the status quo, namely law enforcement unions, are remarkably strong, and they would prefer that these dollars not be moved out of either their budgets or even into these policies if it wasn't from their budget. This does not defund any specific department. This does not take dollars from any specific program. This lays out what our priorities should be and where a minimum of funding should go. And then it will be up to all of us as advocates and the supervisors to figure out where those dollars come from. And they can come from lots of places. Of course, probation, sheriff, and DA are a disproportionate share of unrestricted revenues. They are 42% of the $8 billion. So it's inevitable that dollars will come from there. But there's more flexibility, which is important. And then it is phased in over a 4-year period so that it doesn't shock the budget. According to the county, they are currently spending $230 million a year on the eligible uses outlined in J. And so 100 of that 230 is the affordable housing money. So it's pennies. It's pennies on the dollar as compared to what we're spending on punishment. What the supervisors have done is sort of open the door for us, and now it's up to all of us as advocates and people who care about real systemic change to push through that door. That's our opportunity here. There's going to be a campaign against it. We fully expect sheriffs, probation, and maybe some others to go spend a whole bunch of money to scare the shit out of people and to tell them that J will make you less safe, that J will defund essential workers, and we just know that's not true. We know that J will, in fact, invest in what makes communities stronger.
We have to be diligent on our local governments to make sure that they're spending it right, whether it's with this or without this. That's something that us as advocates know, that we got to hold them accountable for the decisions that they make around their budgets and make sure that the budgets reflect on our values.